Welcome back to Six Ashes for episode 14 with me, MrSealyp. I have taken a break from the sad and depressing task of cultivating in all of the withered crops. I've decided I'm going to sell some soil mix ration. I was going to wait for the price to go higher. It's a 1306 I think it is at the moment, but suddenly it dawned on me, well, that was weird. It's because I've got the weights on the front, didn't take it off. I just suddenly thought there's a risk if it drops, and over the next couple of days there's a couple of bits of equipment I may need to get. I've also got another harvest contract that's popped up, which I've accepted. Now, obviously you need to be wary, because the kind of, obviously, the thing about farming around here is, you like we've said right from the beginning, you're not going to get away with massive machinery. Big harvesters with big headers, you might get down the roads, but getting through the gaps, the gateways and things like that can prove difficult. So the risk is that the harvester they've provided will be too big. So what I want to do is either lease or buy, even if it's a small harvester, get myself a small harvester, so if a contract pops up but the harvester that's being offered is too big, I've got an option. The one that was offered for the contract I've just taken on is for field 70 for doing corn, and it's a... was it... You know what, my mind's gone absolutely blank. I think it was a... is it a Massey? Hang on. Yeah, it was a Massey Ferguson, Activa 7347. Why couldn't I think of the brand then? It was a Massey. Which isn't too big, and the corn header on it isn't too big, which is also folded up, so I had no problem getting it up there. That's up at the gate. As is, there's a... well, the trailer's fairly big, it's a cramped trailer, but it's only a small, I think it's a T5, New Holland T5, that we're pulling it with. So what we'll do first is fill up the load of salt mix ration, we'll take it around and sell it. I might do a couple of loads, then I'm going to head up the hill and we're going to get the harvest knocked out. That needs to be taken over to Seven Valley Stores, which is right across the other side now, which is a bit more of a drive from the last one. But if the harvest contracts are popping up, I'm going to grab them, because for me, having gone this many days, it's nice to do a different sort of job. Great demand at Green Co. Oh, oats 1114. That's pretty good actually. I thought we had some stuff in our silo when we bought it. Maybe not. Same when we bought it. We got it with the land, but... Whoa! Didn't like that too much, did it? I'm putting these in again just because I like them. I think that's cracking. I realise a lot of what I've been doing has been backwards and forwards to doing total mixed ration and things like that. But like I said right at the start of this kind of farming experience, the whole premise was I was working from home. Got furloughed, kind of got laid off, was looking for more work, started doing a bit of contract work for farmers, and then wanted to have a go myself. That was the premise behind the whole thing. And that's where we're at. We're now mid-autumn and we've got some machinery, not a huge amount, we've got some pigs on the go. It's kind of going in the direction I hoped it would. Can't ask for more than that. I mean, yeah, we could ask for crops not to wither, and we could ask for better weather, and I suppose there is a lot we could ask for. Whoa, what did I just hit? Oops, did I hit one of the supports? Oh dear, that was right behind, wasn't it? That was kind of in my blind spot, considering that entire trailer was a blind spot. Right, let's try and swing it a little bit further, shall we? I decided to cut to the second unload, because I was hoping this one was going to go better. I need to go much further under, to about there. Now unload, didn't hit the stanchion, the trailer shouldn't hit the roof. I just didn't go far enough under. I was worried I'd missed the trigger off the back the first time round, so this time I shouldn't hit anything. Everything should be smooth, buttery and lovely. Oh, that total mixed ration prep is paying dividends. Worth every minute of time it took to make all the silage bales. There are still a ton of baling contracts. The other thing someone mentioned to me was, at the time of recording this, I haven't actually read the comments from the previous episode, but yeah, the baling contracts still sit on there even through the winter, which obviously you can't do because there's no grass, but it's a bit odd. Anyway, as I said I was going to do, I'll see up for the harvesting. So this is where we're at the entrance. The header's not too wide on this. I think we're in. Let's open it up. Corn to do. I've actually got quite a high seating position here because, mind you, we're in a little bit of a dip as well, I guess, but that's better. Open it up, there we go, raise a little bit. It's the only downside to the smaller headers and this, not this particular harvester, but you can't quite, because of the monitors, see the edge, which I'm going to need to move over a little bit because I've missed some. That's better. It's not a massive field, but big enough. And like I say, it's nice doing a bit of harvesting again. I know I did some in the last episode, but it's a different harvester. I'm in the market for something cheap and cheerful. Doesn't have to be a massive capacity. I don't mind how many times I unload it. It just needs to be something I can use, something I can get around. I've got an idea of what I want to go for. And again, it may only be a temporary measure in that it'll be what I've got until such time as I can afford a more expensive one. To be honest with you, this hasn't been too bad. The Activa, that was a single gateway and it got in there no problem at all. This header size isn't too bad for a corn header, and to be fair, the corn headers fold up fairly small anyway. And I wouldn't go massive with I might go with the Cressoni header again, because I really have been liking those. There is a Cressoni corn header I haven't used yet as well, because then you haven't got to muck around with header trailers and stuff. That Cressoni header folds up fairly compact and might solve the... This isn't a bad size harvester, but it's not cheap. I haven't got the money to buy this one at the moment. I suppose if I made loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of my total miss ration using all of my hay bales and my silage bales, I could probably just buy one outright, couldn't I? But I'd rather try and work up to it a bit if I can. But anyway, I just thought I'd show you. I'm out here, I'm doing it. At least that way, you know, when you get the thing pop up and I show you the contract complete, you can see that I'm doing it. Something I was going to ask as well. There's a lot of people have still been commenting about the header height control, and that it works really well. And it works with standard combines and in-game headers, so not modded headers. I still haven't managed to get it to work, you know. I've got it installed, it's showing as installed, but that was what I was going to ask actually. Let me just swing around the top. Let me just open up the menu. No, not that one, the help menu. If I go into all the options here, so L1 gives me those ones. Enable straw swath, pipe out, show seasons menu, turn off harvester. R1, then L1 and R1. How do you adjust the header height? Or is it only on regular headers, not corn headers? I honestly can't work out how to do it. Is there a separate menu? I've tried various different button configurations and options. I honestly just... And I still get people saying, why aren't you using it? Why haven't you used it? It's a fantastic mod, it works brilliantly. It's obviously something I'm doing wrong. Select tool. So if I do lift header now, circle lifts the header all the way up. But again, if I do L1, R1, I haven't got any option to manually like move it to a different height. Because that's not going to harvest now. So that's on header, that's on harvester. Yeah, don't know what I'm doing wrong. Any tips will be greatly received. It took a little while, but we got there. Got a fair amount as well. I'm not sure how much this is going to take, so what I'm going to do is have my finger hovering over the trigger, so I'll deliver as much as I need to fulfill the contract, and the rest I'm going to put in storage. And then we'll just build up on whatever we can in our storage, whether we use it for pig food or whatever, but I'm going to do that for the corn at least, because I know the pigs do require a fair bit of it. I wasn't going to I was just going to jump to the end and show the contract complete, but because I'm going to take this and store it, I thought I'd show this bit as well as part and parcel. And I didn't show the whole of the harvest, because again, you know, I could have... That's not too bad. Cut that just at the right time. I could have just kind of plodded through just doing the harvest, but I know not everyone loves a time lapse, not everyone loves to just sit and watch it in full time, and you know, again, it's that kind of horses for courses thing, isn't it? Some people don't like the cut to the end, some people don't like a time lapse, you know. I just try and mix and match it with episodes and we'll see how we get on. But I'm going to head all the way back now over to the, not the pig farm, but the farmhouse with the silo, and we're going to stick this into the silo. Another day dawns on 6 Ashes. It's day 4, mid-autumn. Couple of things we need to talk about. Money has gone up. I ended up doing 3 loads of total mix ration sold. As you've already seen as well, I couldn't help myself. I took on another baling contract because I thought once we get into winter and the grass dies off, I can't do any more. Doesn't hurt to have extra silage bales knocking about. So what I did, the total mix ration that I sold, I have replaced. So my silo is now full again with 200,000 litres. The bales that were here have all been used. So we're on to our next stock. I want to reiterate again, when I said I got 39 bales, and there are 40 here, I'm sure I put up on the screen, one of these was left over from when I did my first lot of baling. So whilst there are 40 here, my maths wasn't wrong, I did 39, because one of these is one of those left over. And I just thought I'd mention that. So, yesterday's baling, or say yesterday's last night's baling, pretty much in the dark, we had 41 bales in total. It took 24 bales to complete the contract, which left me with 17 bales for myself, which is wonderful. Doesn't hurt to have too much silage knocking around. If I check those, you can see they're still fermenting, they're not done yet. So these are the new ones. I wouldn't rearrange that stack. But the time has come to harvest my own field, because it is ready to harvest. Let's have a check on here. We'll zoom out and zoom back in again. So, field 27, it's a small field. Hasn't got much fertilising on it, but it is ready to harvest. Now, we may have got to the bottom of the withering problem. And when I say we, I didn't, Michael did. Thank you to everyone who commented with ideas and suggestions of what it could be. And Michael's suggestion makes more sense. And apparently it's a rule of seasons. I didn't know, but so let's have a look into our seasons menu. Pigs are looking good. They've all been sorted out this morning. They're fed and watered. They've gone up to 441 pounds each, and we're getting closer to new births, which is lovely. There's a couple of menus I want to look at on here. So here, now the problem I had was not all geos are created equal. Some geos don't allow for a second planting. So the green bar there, which says planting season, on some geos there's not a second planting window. You'll have the planting window around spring, then you'll have your harvesting window summer into autumn, then usually nothing in winter. It depends, not all geos are exactly the same. But the problem arises on autumn 1 and 2. So if you go across to the third section, where the green bars start for wheat, barley, oats and canola, there's an overlap there between the harvest season and the planting season. Now I planted, I think, was it day 2 of autumn? So the problem was I planted day 2. When it got to the end of harvest season, anything that's still in the ground at the end of harvest season withers. That's how it works. So what happened was it registered that the crops I'd just planted were crops in the ground. It got to the end of harvest season and said, right, they haven't been harvested, they're withered. So it automatically put them into fully grown and withered state, and they were withered. Now I've never encountered that before. I didn't know that was a thing, but apparently that's a rule. So you've got to be wary of these areas on autumn 1 and 2, and it depends what geo you're using. If you've got an overlap there, potentially you could run the risk, if you do plant a second crop in and you haven't come to the end of the harvest season, when it does, you could get withered. So thank you, Michael, for that, for the heads up. A few things are going to happen in this episode. Not in this episode, today, but not all in this episode. One, I need to get a harvester, because I'm going to be doing my harvesting. Because if we go all the way down and we get to sunflowers, we are in the harvesting window for sunflowers, so I'm good to go on that. I can go and collect my sunflowers. I was panicking that we'd come to the end of the harvest season, but we haven't. That's great. Second thing I'm going to do on one of my fields, not all of them, I'm going to do a test plot, and I'm going to reseed again. And hopefully when we go into day 5, they won't wither. And if they don't, we can pretty much say it's that overlap that caused the problem. So we're doing the harvest, going to do a bit of a test. Now the other thing I wanted to talk about, actually we'll talk about that in a minute. Dave has got a farm not far from here, and he's got a barn not far from here, and he's got a harvester for sale. I've been doing a bit of trawling around looking for a decent harvester. Now we can't start harvesting till around 10 o'clock once the early morning dew is kind of burnt off. It's not that warm in all honesty, but once it's dried out, the crop's dry, we can harvest. So we've got just under an hour and the time's ticking away. So he said he's got a harvester with a couple of headers for sale. And when I say dirt cheap, I mean dirt cheap. And really small too. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to head off. I'm going to go and get my harvester. I haven't paid for it yet. And then I'll show you it anyway, because people will go, what? You've got to be kidding. I'm deadly serious. Cheap as chips, but very small. But it will get me going, and I've even considered trawling around on the internet to see if I can find a second one, because if I can, I might just run 2 of them. Not now, but as we kind of move forward. So, you know, things are happening. Sheep will be coming, and we are going to look at another menu in a minute. One that I've overlooked, in so much as I've talked about a few things regarding pricing, but I haven't really shown the menu, and so I kind of need to show that too. And it becomes quite relevant actually with regard to buying sheep. Let's cross over, head towards the traffic. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, we're nearly there. We've just passed the Sprouts farm shop. We're not there. Sprouts Farmers Market. We're up here. So there's a little barn just up here. That's where Dave's had it stored. Now you've already got the jump on me on this because you've seen the thumbnail. But I'm going to tell you now, it's not so much the harvester. So that wasn't so much the surprise, although I've got a new harvester. This is mine. It's the price. I just got that harvester, a corn header, and a regular header. Now they're not big. I think the corn header's a 3 metre and I think the regular header's a 4.6 for 18,200. Now that's not a dodgy. I haven't done a dodgy YouTuber part of the narrative, you know. My friends let me have a dirt cheap harvester. It's dirt cheap. Look, if we go into harvesters, it starts off at 9,100. Now I've gone for the tracked one, which is great. That's what Dave had, so that's what we've got. Cabin. We've got 148 horsepower, and we've got tracks for 14,200. That's what we went for. If we go into tools and up to headers, the corn header's 1,800 for a 3 metre corn header. And there are 2 options on the headers. I could have had a 3.8 or 4.6, and we've got a 4.6, which is 2,200. All in 18,200. Now it's only got a 3,900 litre tank, but I've only got a small field. I will only have small fields to start off with. So yeah, this is our new harvester. It's a bit slab-sided. It's an older harvester, but it has got tracks, which I think is amazing. It's fantastic. We're having a track day. Ooh, that's given me an idea. Now, something else I was going to mention, which you've probably already seen. You might have seen the payment page, because I don't know. Oh, I might have filmed it. I can't remember what I did now. The returning radius on this isn't fantastic, I think, but it doesn't matter. Let's raise that. Now I raised up. I did a harvest contract yesterday for corn, and I had 9,200 litres. Was it 9,200 left after the contract was complete? Let's just double check that. 9,399 litres left, so I stored that in the silo. I thought rather than get paid for it, which I could have done, the price for corn wasn't great, but if I can start stocking away things, it means I've got pig food on hand. The only problem is, and having looked at the harvest menu, it does explain now as well why I've had no barley, wheat or oat harvests pop up, because we're out of harvest season. There won't be any now. I might get some more harvest contracts pop up for crops that are still within the harvest window, but they're not in the harvest window anymore. So there's no way I'm going to get any of those come up. So the straw that I bought the other day will probably tide us over. Let's turn the indicator off. What I am going to do is turn my hazards on. Again, I've had a few people asking me. I've got my Logitech heavy equipment side panel plugged into my PlayStation, which allows me to have hazard lights on. This harvester doesn't have beacons, so it's kind of the best I can do. I'm coming this way to get off the main road as quickly as possible. We'll use the side lanes and we'll cut through the farm. and we'll get out to our field, and I'm going to get that done. So like I say, I'm going to do the seed test. We're going to get some seeds in the ground as well before the end of this episode, hopefully before the end of this episode. Again, this has been recorded in various different sort of chunks, and I can't remember what I've done, and it's going to depend how I edit it all together. But anyway, it's been a mad, hectic week, as it always is in the Seal household. Everything's a little bit crazy, but we're making it work. I've got my own harvester. It's fantastic. I'm so happy, and I honestly cannot get over the price. Now, is it a little bit flat in places? Yes, you know. But again, if you're starting out and you want a harvester just to get going, again, if I get any harvest contracts pop up now, I can do them and then not have to borrow anyone else's equipment. I won't have any issues with getting in and out of fields if I have to lease large harvesters. It does mean I can pick up any of the contracts. Now, some of them might be on larger fields. It's going to take me a while to do them, but it doesn't matter. We're on the harvester ladder, so to speak. Now, when we get out there, we're going to have a look at the other menu I was talking about. And it's to do with the economy and all the pricing for things. Because I mentioned the other day about total mix ration, and I said, oh, you know, I'll keep hold of it and I'll wait and see if the total mix ration price goes any higher. If it does, we'll sell. Completely forgetting that we've got the economy menu on seasons and we can check it all out. Now, a lot of people also state that the economy menu is irrelevant on the first year. It only kind of really swings into gear second year round. I must admit, I've found the prices so far that I've been getting for things to be fairly accurate to it, but we'll see. We'll have a look at it in a minute, because time is ticking on. As soon as we get to 10 o'clock, which will be fairly soon. 10 o'clock. It's going to be any time soon. The crop moisture icon should disappear and we'll be good to go to start. So what I'll do is passing our farm now, and the great thing is, like I say, this is small enough that it'll fit around. It's not going to cause me too many issues. Am I going to upgrade at some point? After using the massive Ferguson Activa yesterday, yeah, I kind of want to aim for one of those, I think. Larger tank capacity and that kind of thing, and I'll get a header that I can trail behind. But that's further down the line. You know, this is a start-out machine, and I'm more than happy. So I'm going to cut through. I don't know. We should get past the pub. I've been really busy lately. I've hardly been. I know when I started out, I was at the pub every night, making contacts, meeting people, making new friends, doing the odd deal, a little bit of wheeler dealing. I haven't really had a lot of time for that. Too busy working. Not good, is it? I'll slow down through a little bit because it's a bit bumpy and I don't want to get airborne. But the pigs are doing well, so that's good. I'm probably going to seed this field here. It's right by the farm. It makes sense. I'll do that as my test. And then when we go into autumn, 5th day of autumn, if we haven't had them wither, then yeah, what Michael said is going to be bang on, isn't it? I'm not saying he's not right. I'm just saying, you know, the proof of the pudding and all that. Before I forget, this harvester was made under license from John Deere by Kohler. So if you're looking for one similar, hit up Kohler and you should be able to get one for an absolute song. I was going to say, when I went to collect it, that Dave had an old deer up in his barn. I thought that sounded really dodgy. Some old lady up in his barn. Yeah. So I said it anyway now, I guess, so it was irrelevant, isn't it? Let's turn hazards off. Oh, it's still not time, is it? Oh, actually, well, what we can do is turn that off. While we're waiting for the time to tick over, we'll talk about the menu that I was going to talk about. I love it. Love it. That's got to be the smallest tracked harvester around these parts, I would imagine. Right, so if we go into our menu and we go across, this is the menu that I've been kind of neglecting, so to speak, and it's the economy menu. And if I scroll down that, obviously we can see all the prices of various different things. Now, the things that are very important at the moment, if we go down to total mix ration, you can see that it's fairly level. You get a few spikes here and there. What I got 1322 which was actually, we were in summer, weren't we, when I was selling the first bits, which kind of corresponds to that spike. Now it's currently sitting at about, I suppose, 1-2 something maybe. Now that will go up and down, it will fluctuate, but it stays fairly stable. That's why I thought, you know what, I might as well just sell some more because it'll be okay. The one that is very important and very interesting is this one, the wood chip one. Look at the price of wood chips for winter, and don't forget, winter is coming. That will go up as high as 1,530 or thereabouts. 1,500 for 1,000 litres. That's crazy. So, winter, we're going to be cutting down some more trees. We're going to be doing some wood chipping. Now, the other thing that's important is looking forward to buying the sheep, which is what we're going to be doing. Now, I got all confused, didn't I? Mixed myself up with my Dorsets and Dorpers and all sorts of things like that. It's Merinos I'm going to be buying. Now, if you look at the price for Merinos, we are in the slump. So we're buying them at the right time. Now, if I'd bought them yesterday, it would have been probably the cheapest, but it's still pretty low. So providing it sticks true to that, later on today, if I get round to getting the sheep pen put in, pasture put in, and we buy some sheep, we're going to get them at a really good price. So that also helps for selling as well. Now, that may be the case. We'll see when we come to buy them. That could just be the selling price. It could be the buy price stays fairly level. I can't remember, in all honesty. I'm hoping this that way round. But regardless, this economy menu is an absolute, it's a must check. And I've been checking off screen, but then completely forgot to kind of mention it. So again, if you're new to all this, that's going to be fairly relevant to you. You're going to want to know that. Actually, while the time's ticking on and we're not ready to harvest yet, I'm going to go and grab the tractor and trailer, and I'm also going to do a little bit of a conversion over on the trailer because I think it might be too high for the pipe on the harvester. So what I might do is just drop it down a little bit and take the silage boards off. So I'll see you back here. That's the plan. Right, just converted over the trailer, so it's a little bit lower. That should be alright for the pipe. And we're still not there yet. So what I think we'll do while we're down here, I'm going to grab the seeder and I'm going to seed that field. I might as well do it in that order because I can't do the harvesting yet, and it seems daft to kind of speed ahead time-wise or go and sit by the harvester waiting. I might as well do something else. All of the cultivating is now done on my field, so all the withered crops have been cultivated in. That's all been done. Devastating though it was. So I'm going to go with wheat. We'll put that in the ground again. So this is just going to be a little test plot. Now I could just do a strip maybe, but we'll try it. You never know. Temperature's okay, we'll still get away with putting it in the ground. But I know you've seen me do this before, so I won't labour the point. Fingers crossed this will be alright, so only time will tell. Now I'm hoping, because again, this is another one of those situations. I have had people comment saying, oh, you know, I've had loads of people say, you know what, I've had no problems at all, everything's been fine, you know, geo-wise and map-wise, and then I've had loads of people saying, no, it's been a nightmare, it's been a disaster. Then I've had loads of people say I've played other maps, loads of people saying they've just bin seasons because they've had so many problems, so many issues, they don't like it, they don't use it. But one of the comments was, somebody did say that they had an issue that the crop moisture, when they got to a certain part of the year, didn't disappear. Everything stayed wet. So that's a bit of an issue, potentially. Now again, I did say I could go into the menu and turn crop moisture off, so regardless of whatever the crop moisture says, it will still allow me to do the jobs. And that is potentially what you can do if you are having an issue with that and your crop moisture just isn't going for whatever reason. You can turn it off. I know that takes away that realism factor, and I suppose in the real world, if your crops are still wet and they're not drying out, then you are kind of stuck and you are at the mercy of the weather and temperatures and that kind of thing. But just as a, you know, potentially you can if you need to, but I'll hold out a bit longer. We'll see how far we get into the day. If we're kind of 2-3 in the afternoon, it's still not, then I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Anyway, like I said, I don't need to do this entire field. I could just do a strip. In for a penny, in for a pound. And then what we'll do, once I've got the harvest done, I think, just thinking time-wise, we're going to be not far off the end of an episode at that point, is next episode we're going to be sorting the sheep out, which will be within this day. And I've got my hay now so I can feed them. We've got our water tank, so there's no problem at all there. It's gone. The moisture symbol is gone, it's 11 o'clock. I'm going to finish doing this, and let's get up there and get on with the harvest before we lose the rest of the day. And I need to repurpose that field as well. The seeding is done! Didn't take that long actually. Let's get up here and let's get this field sorted. I want to use my new harvester. I'm not going to get a lot off this, but I'm still going to need a trailer regardless of what I get off of it. There we go. Now, with a harvester and a header this narrow, I can actually see where the header's going. So it's the wider ones I struggle with because you can't always see. Now this isn't going to be everyone's cup of tea. It's not going to be, you know, a lot of people will just shy away from John Deere's anyway, or won't want to do them because it's John Deere. And in all honesty, I don't necessarily have a particular brand that I favour in any way. You know, I was always a bit of a New Holland buff, and I did like New Holland. I do like New Holland. I mean, I've said this so many times before, I just love farm machinery and equipment and engineering and that kind of thing. So, and sometimes with things like this, I wouldn't shy away from using something like this because of the brand. When you look at the price and everything on it, and for what I need for what I'm doing, why would I, you know, that would be mad to say no thank you because it's, you know, but again, that's just that becomes a personal thing, doesn't it? This will go into storage. I'm not going to sell it. I suppose as well because, as I said right from the start of the sort of moving here and deciding to do contracting and all those kind of things, every farm area has its merits, it has its ups, its downs, its pitfalls. It will have things that will make you money, it will have things that won't. You know, utilising what's available in the local area is, you know, again, why wouldn't you? So the thing about Total Mixed Ration, and that's the thing I wanted to mention, that is a finite resource I've got there. That's not, you know, I haven't got that all there and it's like, oh well, there's no point anymore, there's no challenge, you can just make as much Total Mixed Ration as you want and make a load of money. Yes, I can, because like I said in the other episode, I spent the time doing all those baling contracts, doing all the mowing, doing all of the, you know, letting it all dry out, getting the hay to do that. And the same with the wood chipping. If the wood chipping pays out well, of course you're going to do wood chipping. If the wood chipping paid out terribly, you probably wouldn't touch it, because what's the point? It's a lot of effort and a lot of time, so it all depends on the area you're working on. Now, will that money last a long time? No, because when you start looking at field prices and then increasing your fleet of machinery, buying bigger stuff, it's expensive. You know, that's happened on every Let's Play I've done. Machinery is not cheap, land is not cheap. So the money you make, even if it seems like a lot of the time, it goes really quickly. And that's not a justification. I'm not trying to justify what I'm doing. I'm doing what I'm doing, but, you know, people often ask, why have I done something a certain way? Why, you know, why have you chosen on this map to do this? And like I say, that's why a lot of the times, because of what's available. You know, if there were greenhouses on the map that paid out a fortune, but they were, you know, fairly expensive to buy, greenhouses might be the way to go. But it will all depend on wherever you are. You know, there might be a lime sale point, or there could be a point where you can sell your digestate. I know there are mods and things like that. If that was the case, I'd be selling all my silage bales at the biogas plant, and I would be selling as much digestate as I could, which I think I did on Sussex Farms, didn't I? I did a whole load because it was worth its weight in gold, and I used sugar beet for that because the point with that was the sugar beet paid out really well. The byproduct of that was digestate, which you could then sell and make more money. So again, it was a kind of different way of making your money based upon what was relevant and prevalent on the map. I'm all for doing a bit more in cab, but like I said before, I do like to see the machinery. I'd like to see it from outside. I'm getting wheel slip on that track. It's weird because this header is designed for this harvester. Or it could just be the way the track's animated. I'm running at 6 miles an hour. I don't think I'm having any problems at all. I say that the turning on that rear axle is not great. It's not the best, but again, I'm really not too fussed. Nearly lunchtime already. Where does the day go? So I'll check before I get to the end. Does this field need ploughing? No, but it does need lime. We can do that. So as my track day continues, I'll see you in a bit when this is done. We'll see how much we've ended up with. I know I need to find a home for my harvester. I might put it in the barn actually at the new farmhouse. MrSealyp has moved in. Everything's being unboxed. She's very happy. Nice bit of land, little garden. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, I might put it over there because there's a fair sized barn there. So I'm thinking, what I'll need to do is whiz over and grab the other harvester, the other header. At some point too, so we'll go and grab that and we'll put all the harvesting equipment in that barn, I think. I didn't quite get a full load, 3,521. It was never going to be a big load because there was not much done on the field. That pipe is perfect for that trailer with the lowered sides. Happy with that. Those flashing lights will never get old. So, in the other episode, I did my first harvest on 6 ashes. In this episode, I've done my first harvest on my field. So this is my first field of my own to harvest. The first of many, I hope, as we move through. We'll see what happens with that test plot overnight, but for the time being I'm going to take this and put it into storage, and then I'm going to take the harvester and put it into the barn. The tractor looks like it needs some more fuel, and we have come to the end of another episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you are enjoying it. If you have, give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free. And if you want to share this video, then please be my guest. Whatever you should choose to do. Thanks for watching.